G'day everyone, it's Jerry here from Succulent Flytraps, your Carnivorous Plants nursery. Today I'm going to be providing an update as to how my Venus Flytraps are growing. I'm also going to be sharing a few growing tips as to how you can grow these amazing plants at home, wherever you are. You know, this growing season has been unprecedented in terms of high demand for these amazing plants. And it's a little wonder, it's because they're so unique when you compare them to all the other plants out there with their amazing ability for their traps to snap shut on unsuspecting prey. And it's the only species within its genus, so Dionea muscipula, that's the Latin name for this plant. So it's little wonder that there is such high demand for this plant. And the great thing is that they're not so hard to grow, so long as you follow a few basic guidelines. Now, as well as giving you an update, I also can't wait to share with you some video footage that I captured when I was up there with my plants. It just highlights how sneaky these plants can be when it comes to capturing prey, and I can't wait to show you what I discovered. Now, you also may be wondering where I've been lately. I haven't been providing any updates on my YouTube channel. The reason is because I got a bout of COVID, and I ended up getting it from my wife, funny enough, because she ended up getting it initially. Me being a close contact, I ended up being with her during the isolation period, and after a couple of days, I ended up getting it myself. So that's the reason why I haven't been providing any updates recently. The great news is that I'm back. I can't wait to start sharing with you my carnivorous plants experience and insights. I hope you guys are safe. Let's get into the update. Okay, so let's go up here onto my wooden platform. And all right, so this is my Venus Flytrap section here. This is where all the low lying plants are, as well as a few sundews here mixed in, and I've got some more down there as well. And the reason why they're all low lying on this side is because the sun rises over there in the east. That's where all my North American pitcher plants are, the tall ones, and as the sun sets over here on the west, all these plants here are getting plenty of sunlight. There's no obstruction there from the sunlight from any tall plants. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these Venus Flytraps. Let's start off with this one over here. Let's have a look at this one. This is a D7XL. That's the cultivar name. And look how beautifully red these traps are. You got these long leaves, which were produced in spring and summer. Now that it's coming around to autumn, they're starting to die off. And those long leaves, that's the leaf base, technical term for it, are being replaced with shorter leaf bases. And the trap sizes are about the same. It's just that those leaf bases have shortened up. So if you're seeing changes in your plant, it's completely normal, okay? It's just reacting to the changes in the season. And I do get a lot of inquiries about, oh, why is this leaf dying? Well, like any plant, any old leaf will start to die off. And depending on how old it is will determine what color it is. Of course, this is an older looking leaf, and this is a newer one, but starting to die off. The most important thing, guys, is that the leaves are being replaced with new ones, and you can clearly see here there's a new shoot coming up through the center. So don't so much focus on the dead leaves, but focus on the new growth coming from the center of the rhizome, okay? All right, let's have a look over here. There's another one. As you can see, very red traps. This is another DCXL. I don't have enough of these plants, so I'm just basically growing them to sort of increase their numbers down the track. But again, you can see these older leaves dying off, and they're being replaced with these shorter leaf base traps. Unbelievable just how red some of these traps are. Just love them. There's one there that's opening up. I think there might be a fly in there. But this growing season, it's been unprecedented in terms of high insect activity, just because it's been so wet. We've been getting plenty of sunshine as well, so that has really boosted insect numbers, and you see it in the number of insects that are getting trapped in these Venus Flytraps. Okay, so over here I've got quite a few of them here in one pot. Now, because I'm a small nursery, I don't have much space, so I can't sort of have them in individual pots, so I tend to save space by having more than one growing in the one pot. So I can't sell these the way they are as a pot plant, but when I send these off into the mail, I ended up sort of taking a few out without disturbing too much of the others, and that's how I ended up saving space and still providing a quality product. You can see the sundews over here growing amongst these Venus Flytraps, and they really do grow quite well, even though they're quite crowded. It's like they're competing with each other, these fly traps, and for space, so it sort of gets them growing more vigorously. But these are big mouth fly traps, Venus fly traps. You can see quite a few of these traps are closed and digesting. They're sealed, indicating that they've got prey that they're digesting. Here's some more Venus flytrap, big mouth Venus flytraps. Again, got multiple plants growing in the one pot. Now, I've just got these growing in water. There's the water level there. It's just the pot sitting in water, nothing fancy here, guys. So just make sure that the water that you're using is soft water. So that's reverse osmosis filtered water, distilled water, or rainwater. Okay, so I just normally use rainwater, and I just fill these trays up with water, and then just, yeah, that keeps the peat moss nice and damp. Never allow the peat moss, which is the growing medium, to dry out, guys. Okay, now you can see this one over here. This is a larger one growing, and you can see the smaller ones going around the base. So that often happens. When the plant is happy, it will start to produce these side shoots, and that's when these little ones will start to emerge from the rhizome. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to show you down here. So these, again, as I said, because I'm not a big nursery, I've got multiple growing plants in the one pot, and you can see them here, different cultivars over here. Not sure the name of this yellow one, but these are all big mouths down here. Look at them, so many of those smaller traps. These are the shark's teeth ones. They're looking really nice. Love those triangular teeth on the traps. Then you've got some different ones over here. These are big mouth. Not sure about these ones over here, these yellow ones, but it's amazing how they contrast beautifully with each other, those different coloured traps. Some are quite dark red. Big mouths aren't so dark red, and then you've got these yellow ones. So together they really create a beautiful effect. Here's a big mouth by itself. Look at these ones down here. These are more big mouths. How many there are. Some plants haven't grown as well as I thought. This one over here died off. Not sure why. Sometimes you get these things happening. Sometimes you do all you can, but for some reason they just don't grow. And it's a bit of a mystery. I don't know why some do, some don't, but hey, that's Mother Nature, and I suppose that's what, it's a bit of a mystery there, but the majority are growing very, very healthily here. Look at these red ones mixed in with those yellow ones there. And then you've got these ones down here as well. There's a bristle tooth. See that one there? See how those teeth are all sort of like a bristle. That one's going quite well, even though it's quite crowded in there. And then you've got this big mouth here, looking very, very healthy. So yeah, that's how they're looking down there. And again, they're just sitting in these foam boxes with rainwater in there. And of course, I've got the sundews going in here as well. These are South African sundews. You can grow all these plants in the same growing medium as Venus Flytraps, so that's the beauty of it. And these are Drosera binata T-form because of their T-shaped leaves. Got multiple plants growing in the pot there, so that's why they're so busy looking. There's one over here growing by itself. I just love how it produces these vertical shaped Y-shaped leaves around the edge of the pot. Looking really, really nice. So these plants over here are getting around about, say, 6 hours of direct sunlight every day. So make sure, guys, that you're giving them plenty of sunlight, okay? You know, if you really want to sort of see those red traps, not for all of them, some cultivars, like this one over here, doesn't have as red traps, it's quite yellow, but big mouths and a lot of other cultivars do produce red traps, and the best way to have your plant producing vibrant coloured traps is by giving it plenty of sunlight, okay? And I've got some small big mouths around here, around the base of this North American pitcher plant. It's a hybrid, an alata crossed with a flava. I just love that red theme happening. Yeah. Okay, so these ones here are growing in the trays, okay? Alright, so I'm going to go over here now, and I've been experimenting here with out trays. So these plants are growing via a wick. I don't know whether you can see that, but there's a wick on the bottom there, see that? And it's basically going into these pipes of water, and it's via the wicks that the peat moss remains nice and damp, which is what the plants need, okay? So I'm just basically experimenting with this. It's part of my blue glove project. If you would have seen some of my previous videos where I used blue gloves to join together these PVC pipes. But yeah, the plants are looking really good. The great thing about this is that when it does rain, doesn't matter how much it rains beautifully through those pots, and those plants remain nicely watered. Okay, I've got these G7s times G14s. Nice red traps again. Love the vertical growth coming up there. Again, you can see a lot of these traps are sealed because there's been a lot of flies about. I often see flies up here dancing around the traps, and a lot of the times they end up getting caught. So this is a G16 times G17. I don't have enough of these plants at this stage, so I'm just desperately trying to grow more of these for future years. But have a look at some of these ones. This is a Akai Roo. That's the name of that cultivar. But look at the changes in the season for this plant. You've got these older traps, as I said earlier, with the spring-summer traps, and now they're being replaced with these shorter traps, and they're looking really nice. Again, a lot of these traps are sealed. Let's have a look over here. Here's another one. So these ones here are getting more sun than these ones over there. That's because now that it's getting later into summer, the sun's setting more of an angle over there behind our house, whereas early in the season it was setting more over on that at that angle over there. So if you can, guys, as the sun does change its aspect throughout the growing season, try to move your plants around where they can get the most amount of sun, and that will really, as I said earlier, provide your plant will produce really vibrant coloured traps, just as you can see right here. Got one over there. Don't know what happened to this bristle tooth. Again, bit of a mystery. You do all you can, but some plants just don't come up. I've got over here some shark's teeth. Look at that. I just love I love the vertical growth, but I also love some of these traps are quite like it's like a half moon shape. Love that. Again, it's all being watered through the wicks, and many of these traps have got something in it. Let's have a look down here. These are the bristle tooths. Those teeth around the edges are quite bristle-like. But yeah, that's how my plants are looking right now. So the growing medium for these plants, I've just got 1/3 perlite and 2/3 peat moss. So perlite's this light material here. It's just produced under high temperature, and it's very porous, so it provides good drainage for the plants and good aeration as well. So that's why the plants are growing so well. All right, so I'm just going to now share with you this amazing bit of footage that I captured whilst I was up here a bit earlier. So let's have a look at it. So here's some footage of a housefly busily gorging itself on some nectar. You can just make out the trigger hair as indicated by the white arrow. There are 3 trigger hairs on each lobe of the fly trap, and their job is to detect movement. As soon as movement is detected, the trap snaps shut. You would think that the quicker a Venus flytrap closes its traps, the more successful it's going to be at catching insects such as flies. After all, flies are quick and agile. Well, this next piece of footage proves that there are other ways. So here's just another fly gorging itself on nectar. You can clearly see the carcass of a previously caught fly. Here you can more clearly see the trigger hairs. Notice how slowly the lobes of the trap start to close. In fact, it's so slow that the fly doesn't even realise it's slowly being engulfed. It's at this stage that the fly starts to panic, realising that it's been trapped. So after looking at that video footage, it made me wonder, why is it that these traps are so effective at catching insects quickly or slowly? And it all comes down to the shape of the walls of the traps. They're actually quite rounded like this, they're not flat. And as that fly was becoming slowly engulfed, it was the top part of the trap that became narrower first. So that sort of forced the fly to go sort of deeper into the trap where there was more space. And of course, as it did that, it sealed its fate. Okay, so this is a Venus Flytrap. It's a G16 x G14 cultivar that I place into this pumice stone planter. So say about 18 months ago, and that's coming up really nicely. Enjoying all this rain. I've got that, of course, sitting in my simple backyard pond here, and same situation with the leaves. And there's those older, longer shaped leaves are being replaced with these shorter, stubbier leaves. Those traps are looking quite red. Gets a little bit of less sun here, probably about 5 hours rather than 6 like those other plants, but still it's quite happy. Of course, there's also these tropical sundews growing in that planter, and the sphagnum moss as well. You can see that one here nicely sealed, indicating it's caught something. But yeah, overall I'm very, very happy with them. There's another one there that's sealed. And over here, these are big mouth fly traps. They're looking good as well, growing amongst the sphagnum moss. Been catching flies there, as you can see in that trap. Looking quite healthy. This big mouth over here I just placed into the sphagnum moss, which is all this moss growing around it. I didn't even put it into the peat moss, which is underneath, and it grew. It's been growing quite nicely. It's just that we've had a bit of rain recently, and that sphagnum moss really has grown, and it's in danger of swamping this big mouth. So I'm going to have to just trim away some of that sphagnum moss around that plant just to allow it to develop. But overall, very, very happy. And I hope your plants are growing well as well.